So once again, a very good afternoon to all the participants, and I welcome Veeresh Hiremath sir to the webinar who will be addressing us today. So Hiremath sir is the head of commodity and currency research at Karvy Comtrade Limited, a Karvy Group company. He also tracks the international commodities market and its effects on the Indian market. He started his career in Karvy as a fundamental research analyst in commodities broking for about 6 years and moved to Bharat Agri International Trading Private Limited, handling research on import and export of agricultural commodities such as sugar, pulses, maize, etc. for 4 years. He is a postgraduate in agricultural marketing and cooperation from the University of Agricultural Sciences, Bangalore, and also an MBA in internal business from ICFI. His views are regularly featured in print, electronic, and online media. So we're very happy to have you here, sir. So please take over from here.
Thank you, Chaitra. First of all, good day to all of you. Before starting my session, I want to express my gratitude to Dr. Chaitra and the Phoenix Academy for giving this opportunity to present my views on the subject which we have chosen today for the benefit of all of you. Before starting the presentation, I just want to give some basics background about this market and all. Hope all of you have already undergone through the 2 sessions on the commodity derivative market by Mr. Kalyan Chakravarti, wherein he explained about the commodity market, the various tools available for trading and all the things, and what are the different participants. He also given some examples on a theoretical basis. Here I'm going to give some experience that what I have done and how this can be utilized on a practical view of the things. So you are aware that there are 3 types of the participants in the market, that is the traders or the speculators, the hedgers and the arbitragers. In this seminar or in this webinar, I'm going to touch on the hedging part, what the hedging means, how it can be benefit from the participant, who are the participants, how they can get it benefited. I will be giving a live example from the market wherein you can relate or resonate yourself with the practical approach to this market. Now, I'm going to share my screen so that I will run the session for you so that you can understand in a better position. The topic what we are choosing is a hedging. Hedging is nothing but it is a risk management tool. One thing you need to understand that with hedging you are not going to do any profit or any loss. Normally it is a conception in the market that not only in a commodity market, any financial market, be it equity, be it a currency, be it a bond market, everybody is thinking that this market is for making the money. Yes, it is making money for certain kind of an investor who are looking to invest their money for the wealth creation, for increasing their investment and all. There is the other side of the market participant like a hedgers. For them, this market or this platform, it is a pure hedging platform. Let us understand what this hedging is, that one, why it is so important. All moving on to the slides. First, we'll understand the dictionary meaning of the hedging. Hedging is nothing but it is taking a position in the financial derivative market, whether it may be a currency, it may be a commodity, it may be an equity market, with the objective of or limiting the risk arising from the price changes. Let us give an example. I can give an example of a gold where you can relate the gold market to your daily activities. You go to the jeweler to buy some jewelry. Anyhow, the jeweler will sell his prices as per the prices prevailing on that day. However, for him, he has to manage his purchase risk also. He knows it is not like that every day we'll go to the jeweler and buy jewelry every day. Whenever there is an occasion in your family, or whenever there is a festival like a Diwali or Sandashara or any kind of a festival, the auspicious days, Akshay Tritiya or Dhanteras, and those period only you will visit the jeweler to buy the jewelry. But For jeweler, it is an everyday process wherein he can keep on buying and selling and that one. He is very well aware that one he is buying prices, but his selling price is uncertain because he don't know. Suppose he bought 1 kilo of gold, he don't know when he is going to sell 1 kilo of gold after converting that gold into a jewelry. The selling price for him is uncertain. So here, if the price is uncertain, in that case, the jeweler is using this platform to hedge that price risk of the selling price risk on the futures market. This is where this hedging platform works. Another example for you here is that one, hedgers will have an underlying exposure. As I just now told you, on the gold, because the jeweler is exposed to a risk of prices falling from the buying price. We'll understand with the example how it works in the going forward. Here, hedgers will be having an underlying exposure in the commodity, and he uses the derivative market. He may use the forward, he may use the futures, he may use the options also, which is available for the Indian market. These are the different derivative tools he can use so that he can insure against the adverse price fluctuation. You might have seen that one. You may relate yourself with the gold prices. 3 months back, the gold prices were somewhere around 39,000 per 10 gram. If you look at today, it is almost close to 48,000, approximately 10,000 rupees price appreciation in gold as on date within the 3 months time. So this is the risk. Suppose the gold jeweler would have bought his gold before this lockdown at 38,000 rupees. And anyhow, it is good for him because the prices is higher. He can selling at the higher prices. But when you consider that from the buying perspective, you could have thought that one I could have bought gold pre-lockdown period in the month of February or March so that the prices could have been lower, but this price for the buyer is very, very high. Here the hedgers will be having an underlying exposure and he can mitigate his risk by using the derivative market. You are having a basic understanding that these derivative, whether it may be a futures or an option, there is an underlying, there is a base. What is the base? Spot market is the base. This hedging mechanism works based on the principle that spot market and the futures prices can move in a tandem. So what is the, I will give an example for in the going forward. So here, who could be the ideal hedgers? The hedgers could be your importers, could be exporters, producers and processors. Here, jeweler is a processor. He will be buying gold bar from the refiner and selling the value added in the form of gold jewelry to the individuals. The producers, I can give an example of a farmer. Farmer is a producer. Take an example of a rice. The farmer is producing a rice, but he is uncertain about the price, what he is going to get once his crop is ready for harvest. Assume that today the farmer is sowing the paddy. He has to wait at least 90 days to get his produce ready for harvest. At the same time, he is uncertain what could be the price of paddy after 90 days. Here, this market will come for the rescue of the farmer when they are going to sell after 90 days. Likewise, the importers and exporters also. Largely importers and exporters, it will work more on a currency part because if it is an exporter, he would be receiving the foreign currency. Then he is uncertain when he receives the foreign currency, what could be the rupee dollar prices on that day when he receives the prices. The same time with the importer, he has done a importing, he has to make the payment in foreign currency. For them also it is this particular sentence, it is having a both currency as well as the commodity as well. Hedgers, it could be simple funder for currency as well as the commodity market. These are the participants as a hedgers like importers, exporters, producers and processors. So how it works on a commodity? Normally what happens, For commodity producers, commodity users, commodity derivatives as a commodity user use commodity as a raw material. For commodity producers, it is a finished product. Like I given an example, for jeweler, commodity, it is a raw material because he is buying the gold bar. When it comes to a farmer, he is a finished good because he has to sell his produce in the market. Hedgers generally hedge by buying raw material in forward or futures, or selling finished goods in forward or futures, or both the situations. Let us give an example how this short and long hedge works using the futures. The same example I have taken uh, intentionally today's date, because anyhow the today market is not working. Anyhow, I have taken this on a for example for easy understanding for all of you. Today, suppose a jeweler wants to buy 1 kilo of gold at the end of July. So what he can, there are two options for him. One option is that he assume that today the spot price of the gold is trading at 47,000 rupees per 10 gram. What he can do is that he can go to the refiner or seller of the gold bar. He can buy 1 kilo of gold at the rate of 47,000 per 10 gram, which translates into 47 lakh rupees. Here he can buy that one. He has to put that gold bar into his what, but he's not using at this point of time. His consumption is at the end of the July, after 1 month or 1.5 months. Towards the end of the July, he's going to consume that one. The first option is that one, he buy that gold by putting entire 47 lakh rupees, or by paying that 47 lakh rupees to the seller. He will buy that gold bar, put it into his vault. What will happen? Because his entire capital is blocked of a 47 lakh rupees. Over and above, anyhow, nobody is going to put his own money. He has borrowed the money from the bank. For that, the bank will charge some interest. He has to bear that interest for this 1.5 months. That is one challenge. Another challenge is he has to put it in a storage. He cannot put it in his jewelry shop because there is concerns of the theft, burglary or something. So he will go to some bank locker or somebody who is going providing this vault services. For that, they will be charging. He has to put that additional burden. So that is the one thing. So normally assume that he will anyhow he is requiring that gold bar at the end of July. He will not going to buy. Alternatively, he will wait till 31st of July to consume. By the time 31st of July comes, that day the spot price of gold will be 48,200 rupees per 10 gram. So what he has to do? Anyhow, he has to consume that gold of 1 kilo, but he has to pay 48.2 lakh rupees. What will happen? He is paying 1.2 lakh rupees extra when he is going to actually consume that gold on 31st of July. Alternatively, anyhow he knows that one he is going to consume 1 kg of gold at the end of July. Alternatively, what happens? He will come to the futures market. Futures market, there are the different contracts are available. You are having a basic idea of that one. What is the futures contract? How the future price is calculated? It is a spot plus cost of carry. Anyhow, the futures price, there will be an August contract which is trading at 47,500 rupees. 20th of June, today the spot is 47,000. August futures is trading at 47,500. This extra 500 rupees, it is towards the cost of carry, which include the finance cost, your storage cost. That will be a part of this extra 500 rupees. What he will do, the jeweler, rather than buying that entire 1 kg of gold by paying 47,000 47 lakh rupees, rather he will create a buy positions in the futures market, which is trading at 47,500 rupees, which translates into 47.5 lakh rupees. Here, no need to pay that entire 47.5 lakh rupees. He has to just pay 10% of the margin, which comes to around 4.75 lakh rupees. By paying 4.75 lakh rupees, he is creating a buy positions in the futures market so that his buying price is locked. The 31st of July comes, anyhow, he has to consume that one. Either what he can do it, anyhow, he bought at 47.5 lakh rupees by worth of gold at 47,500. On 31st of July, the futures price is trading at 48,400 rupees. There is a price appreciation of almost around 900 rupees. Right? So what he can do is that one, either he can take delivery from the exchange, means when he is going to take delivery from the exchange, he is going to get delivery at the rate when he entered the contract on 20th of June, that is 47,500 rupees. So because there is some limitation on the delivery exchange, because if the jeweler is sitting somewhere in, say, Mysore, what will happen? Mysore is not having a delivery center. Either he has to opt Ahmedabad, which is a major delivery center. He has to go to Ahmedabad, bring that material. For some jewelers, it may not be feasible for them to go to Ahmedabad, bring that material. So rather, what they can do is, they can, on the 31st of July, the spot price will be 48,200 rupees. What they can do is that one, they will buy from the local vendor at 48,200. On 31st day, when he consume, the physical consumption of the gold happens, at the same time, he will exit the positions on the futures market at 48,400 rupees. What happens here? On one side, spot market, he is buying by paying extra money of 1,20,000. But at the same time, on futures, he is exiting the position at 48,400 rupees, wherein he will be making a profit of 80,000 rupees. Earlier, rather than paying an extra 1.2 lakh rupees, he is paying just additional of 40,000 rupees. So the cost or the loss to the tune of 80,000 it will minimize, because he is just against the 1.2 lakh rupees, he is paying the 80,000 rupees. So there is a 40,000 cost advantage is there for the gold jeweler. Hope it's clear till now. Okay, we'll move forward. I will take another example. That was on a buy side. This was on a sell side. I have taken a product called Guarcid. It is one of the big commodity traded on exchanges. You may not be having the idea of why this Guarcid is available. I think it is in a cluster bin. You just Google it. You will get to know that one. What is it is having both food usage as well as an industrial usage. I will not going to touch upon what the usage of what it is and all. Just I will give an example how this works. That was on a buy side. This was on a sell side. I am going to give an example. The same thing also works here. A producer, here we can take a farmer. Farmer wants to sell 100 tons of Guarcid at 5,000 rupees per ton at the end of July. But he is uncertain what could be the price at the end of July. Normally, as we are assuming that the spot price of Guarcid, it will become a 49.50 rupees per quintal by end of July. But his intention was to sell at 5,000, but the market is at 4,950. Anyhow, he has to sell at lesser at the 50 rupees. Means total 100 tons, what he has to lose 5,000 rupees by paying by selling 100 tons. If he does not do any hedging on the futures market. Rather than what he will do, he will go to the futures market, create a sell position of an August contract, because here the contracts are standardized as far as Guarcid contract. concerned, the one contract of guar seed is in a 10 tons. Since his intention is to sell 100 tons, he has to take the sell position of a 10 tons, which will equivalent to the 100 tons. He will do that one, sell the position at say 5,050. Always the futures price will be higher than the spot prices because there is an element of cost of carry. What he will do, he will create a sell position by paying the 10% of the margin. He will create a sell position. On 30th of July, what he will do, he will buy back that position because here also there is some challenges of a deliveries in terms of the logistical issues and all. Simply what he will do, he will sell in the local market wherever he belongs, and at the same time he will buy back that sell position at the rate of 5,000. Here he is making a profit of 50 rupees per quintal, which means 5,000 rupees. At the same time, he is losing 5,000 rupees in the spot market by selling at the lower price. So here his loss is zero. He is not going to make any profit. He is not going to make any losses because his cost is nullified. It is become a nil. So that here also he is in a position. I will give a live example taking one commodity, how this hedge strategy works. If the hedging is done, what is the benefit, and what is if hedging is not done, what is the advantages and disadvantages with a live example. Here I have given a theoretical approach. For 1 kilo, the jeweler has to take the 1 kilo position. For guar seed, for 100 tons, he has to take 100 tons of the position. But that will not work in a reality because there is an underlying, which is the spot prices and the futures prices. There is a concept called a hedge ratio. Here hedge ratio will give against 1 kg of gold, how much kgs of gold he has to hedge. Against 100 tons of guar seed, how much quantity he has to hedge so that his risk is covered. Is it a 1:1, or is it a 1:2, or is it a 1:1.5, or is it a 1:0.5? This will be calculated through a mathematical calculation, which we call as a hedge ratio. Hedge ratio gives the optimal number of lots or contracts that the hedger is required to buy or sell in the futures market to cover his risk exposed in the physical or spot market. How we are going to calculate since the futures and the spots carries a correlation because the futures contract is having the spot as an underlying. As I given an example of a gold futures, it is a derivative, it will having an underlying at the spot market. Whatever the spot prices, for your better understanding, give an example of a Ahmedabad is a base center where the price of derived in the Ahmedabad market for gold, it is considered as a base for calculating your futures prices. So both will carry some kind of a relation because futures is derived from the spot market. There is always correlation. Here we have to find out the correlation coefficient between spot and futures multiplied by the standard deviation of the spot and standard deviation of the futures prices. Here we are taking the change in the price, the standard deviation of the change in prices, so that we can smoothen the prices. There will not be any outlier, there will not be any deviation from the mean, which we normally consider in any of the statistical calculation. That is a base. Based on this, we are going to calculate the hedge ratio. I will give an example in this one. Here we are going to assuming one example. There is a company who wants to purchase 100 tons of the turmeric. I will give an example. I think everybody will heard about the ITC. Their brand Ashirwad. They will coming with the various products. They will come with the wheat atta. They will come with the chili powder, masala powder, turmeric powder. They are into the business of buying turmeric in a raw form, converting that into a powder form, and selling in a consumer packet to all the consumer. Anyhow, they have to buy turmeric Mr. Kalyan was giving an example of a turmeric finger of the Nizamabad and other market. I will make it simple so that you can have a better understanding. They want, the ITC wants to buy 100 tons of a turmeric, say in the month of July. They're having two options. One, they just go to the spot market, buy that entire 100 tons, put it into their godowns, put entire money of that 100 tons, and they have to bear the cost of that carry towards the interest cost, towards the storage charges. The other thing is they just buy a futures contract in the commodity exchange by paying just a 10% of the margin, so that the entire risk is covered. No need to put that entire amount for that 100 tons, and they don't need to take the burden of storage cost, take the burden of interest cost. So they have to do that one. We are assuming that the price of the turmeric is going to increase considering the current situation. Because this is an off season, there is not be any supplies going to happen, but there is a demand factor. Based since the demand is more than supply, always with the law of supply and demand, when the demand is more than the supply, alternate because of this one, the price will be increasing. Assuming that the price is going to increase, we'll take a buy positions in the futures market, so that they will not have any concern about the market volatility. So here they are going to enter a long hedge because they will be on the buying side. But there is a concept of the supply demand, other factors like monsoon for the market, like there is some government intervention in terms of the maybe a minimum support price, maybe in terms of the international trade, the international barrier in the form of tariffs, duties for any of the commodities, that will derive the price fluctuation. Here, the company is going to be on a long side, but the market will move on a both side, higher side as well as a lower side. How they can get a benefit from this, the rising market as well as the falling market. We'll take an example of this market. So this is a simple mathematical calculation I have taken. I have taken the spot price of turmeric, which is quoted on a Nizamabad market, and the futures price, because futures price, it is a Nizamabad reflection, because Nizamabad is the spot market and it is in a base market for all your futures contract. On the left hand side, I have taken the spot prices. It is in a live example. I have taken data from 1st of June till 12th of June and the corresponding data for the futures. Here I have calculated the change in spot prices, change in the future prices. First, I have calculated the standard deviation of both spot as well as the futures, then the correlation coefficient of this one. So there is a 0.75% or the 75% correlation between the spot and price. If the spot price of turmeric moves by 1 unit, the futures price it will move by 0.75 units. If the 1 rupee increase in spot price, it will translate into 0.75 rupee upside movement in the futures market. So there is a good correlation from the statistical point of view. Anything above 7.7 will consider it's in a good correlation. So correlation, if it is in a perfect correlation, like it is carries a 1 and -1 or +1 correlation, it is in a perfect correlation. In that case, what will for 100 tons, they have to do the 100 tons of the hedging on the futures market. So with the hedge ratio, which states that correlation multiplies standard deviation of spot divided by standard deviation of futures, that will give a hedge ratio. Here in our case, the hedge ratio is coming 0.38, means against 100 tons of the turmeric requirement, the company has to take a position equivalent to 30.79 metric ton. For our understanding, we'll make it a round figure. Means against 100 tons, the company has to hedge 31 tons of the turmeric, wherein the entire risk of 100 tons it will be covered. This is a total tons. Since you are aware that the futures contracts are a standardized contract, there is a standardization in terms of the quantity. Here, in case of turmeric, each contract is 5 tons. We are dividing 31 tons divided by 5, which will be coming 6. Means they have to hedge 6 lots of turmeric contracts on the exchange. By hedging 6 lots, they are going to having covered the risk equivalent to 100 tons. This is a mathematical calculation how it will be having an impact. We have taken 100 tons. Spot price, I have taken the last price. On the 12th of June, the spot price was on 5,243 and futures price it is a 5,742. So our assumption that the price will go up, but there is some good thing happens because there is not demand going to come. Because of that, the price will fall. Towards the end of the contract, this spot and futures they will converge, because since the future is derived from the spot, the cost towards the storage cost toward the interest cost, it is having a time value. As the time between the spot and futures reduces, the interest cost and also the storage cost will be reduced. So here we are assuming that on the expiry, the price will be falling to 5,000 rupees. What will happen on the right hand side? What happened here? The company bought the futures contract at 5,476 rupees per quintal, which translated into 16.8 lakh rupees for the total quantity of 31 tons. That rate he is going to buy. When he is going to sell or exit from the market, the price is 5,000 rupees, which will be translating into 15.4 lakh rupees. By doing this transaction, the company is making a loss of 1,47,000 rupees, because they are trading in the futures market. They have to do with any of the brokerage. There is a brokerage element. They have to add that also. In total, they will be making a loss of 1,47,576 rupees. This is one leg of the transaction. At the simultaneous time, they will be doing the transaction. Anyhow, they have to buy. What happens if they have not done the transaction? That is well and good. Now the price is low. They are going at the lower prices. They will be buying the material of turmeric at the rate of 5,000 rupees per quintal, which will be becoming a 50 lakh rupees. Suppose they did not done a hedging. That is well and good. They might ask that anyhow the price is lower. We can, instead of buying at 54,76,000, we bought at a 50 lakh rupees. But there is a loss in the futures market. But effectively, what happened? They will be effective price paid is a 48,57,000 rupees. So effectively, there is a gain. Instead of buying at the 5 lakh rupees, they will be making a buying at the 48,52,000 rupees when the market falls. We'll take the other scenario where on the higher side the market goes up. Here also the same thing happens. Suppose when they have done a hedging at the rate of by buying at a 54.76, there the buying price will be becoming of 16,86,000 rupees, and when they are exiting upon expiry of the contract, they are exiting the material at 17.2 lakh rupees. In total, they will be making a profit of 37,160 rupees. Suppose if they could have not taken the position in the futures market, they will end up at buying at the 5,600 rupees against the 5,476 rupees. So there is a net effective price of 37,190. In total, they will be buying the material at 50 lakh rupees, 55.62 lakh rupees. This is how the hedging works. We should understand it is a no profit, no gain. It is a price risk management tool. So that's it from my side. Here I'm stopping my screen share. Those who are having any questions, they can raise your questions now.
Yes, participants, if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and ask the questions yourself. If you want to type it in the chat box, then I'll relay the question to the speaker. Anything is fine. Do you have any questions?
One question has come.
Yes.
From Rashmi Ranjan Morana. How far the concept of hedging is applicable for agriculture produce or is specific for few commodities? I will be informing that there is some regulation for any kind of an activities happens in any of the countries. If it is a banking, the RBI is a regulator. If anything is there in the insurance, there is an IRDA is there. Likewise, there is a regulation for the commodity trading also. The SEBI is a regulation, and there is all the trading happens on the commodities. It is happens as per the SCRA Act, that is a Securities Contract Regulation Act, and there is a notification by the SEBI or the Government of India. They have notified that there are 91 commodities allowed for trading. However, because it is a responsibility of the exchanges and the regulator which commodity they can offer, because there are certain criteria for any commodity to be listed for trading. Based on that, they will be listing. As for agricultural commodities, there are certain commodities as of now which are active. To name that one, I will be categorizing that into different categories. Like we can categorize it oil and oil seeds, under which we are having a soybean, soya oil, mustard seed, crude palm oil, and castor seed. Then there is spices wherein we are having a dhania, chili, turmeric, menthol, and cardamom. Then we are having a cotton seed oil cake. Then kapas is there, wheat, maize, barley, sugar. These are some of the commodities which are available. Whatever the commodities are listed, having a good liquidity, good participation, in those commodities, the producers can participate. Hope I answered your queries.
So there's another question from Bhakti.
Bhakti, if hedging is done in agriculture, as you said, no loss, no loss. So how much we can get it as a risk management tool with agriculture? So can you elaborate on this one? Because hedging is just a price mitigation. Because if you are not done a hedging, then you are going to end up paying higher prices or receiving the lower prices. That is a thing you have to understand. Hedging, purely hedging means you are mitigating your price uncertainty. Let me give an example so that you can resonate, relate with you. All of you will be taking some insurances. Maybe it be a life insurance or a health insurance or a vehicle insurance. Because on what principle does your insurance work? If something happens to your life or to your vehicle or to your health, the insurance agency will make good of it. The same thing happens here also. In insurance, you are paying just premium. Because you are transferring your risk to the insurance company. Here also these producers or the consumers, they are transferring their risk to some other party by paying this margin on the market. So that this will be applicable in all the segments, because many are using, if you go to any jewelers, the big jewelers, they will be doing all the hedging depending upon their business model, depending upon their requirement, they will do it. You can go and ask any of the jeweler. May not be the small jeweler they will be doing, but the big jewelers they will be doing. They may not be the branches locating in your areas, they may not be, but their head office, their management, they will be definitely doing it. So any more queries?
Yes, Bhakti, if you want to ask or have more clarification on that, you can unmute yourself and ask the question if you want to do that.
Yeah, I think Bhakti replied that if any queries further continue. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So thanks everyone for joining us. Thank you, sir. It was really wonderful to have you on the webinar, and it gave us a real good insight, and your examples were so practical that it's very easy to understand. So thank you, sir, and thank you to the participants once again. Bye.
Yeah, thanks once again to Dr. Chaitra and the Phoenix Academy for giving this opportunity. And thank you for all the participants. Stay safe, stay healthy, and have a great weekend.
Thank you. Thank you.